If you think Tesla is a car company, you're wrong. Tesla gets smarter every time someone drives, which means it improves significantly faster than its competitors. So what is Tesla, if it's not a car company? It's a self-improving driving system, a network that learns from real-world behavior every time someone drives. Because every mile driven isn't just usage, it's training. And once that scales, it becomes extremely difficult to compete with. Every Tesla on the road isn't just a vehicle. It contributes real-world driving behavior into a shared model that improves continuously. If a driver in New York hesitates at a busy intersection and another driver in California faces the same situation later that day, both moments refine how the system responds next time. Tesla now has millions of vehicles on the road, all feeding into that same model every single day. And that creates something competitors can't easily access. And this isn't just a technical edge. It directly affects how value is created and captured over time. So if that model improves every time it's used, what exactly is Tesla building and why is it so difficult to replicate? It's a continuously improving driving model trained on real-world behavior. And competitors don't have access to that same stream of real-world input. Once you see this, Tesla stops looking like a car company. It starts looking like a learning engine operating at global scale. Which means most people are evaluating Tesla using the wrong lens. They're comparing cars when the real competition is happening at the system level. But that didn't start with AI. It started with a structural decision. The auto industry was already optimized around efficiency, supply chains, and incremental improvements. Tesla didn't try to improve that model, it replaced it. From the beginning, Tesla built its vehicles around software, not as an add-on, but as the foundation. That decision changed what the product actually is. If someone brakes suddenly in traffic or hesitates at an intersection, that moment doesn't just disappear. It gets recorded, analyzed, and used to improve how the system responds in similar situations. Multiply that across millions of drivers, and isolated events turn into patterns the model can act on. That's where the system begins to gain real capability. At that point, the company isn't just selling vehicles, it's collecting real-world driving behavior at massive scale. And Tesla vehicles have already driven billions of miles in real-world conditions, not simulations. That volume creates an entirely different level of learning. Driving is unpredictable, and that unpredictability is exactly what makes this system so powerful. But this is where Tesla gains an advantage, because it's learning directly from that unpredictability at scale. Tesla is identifying patterns competitors haven't fully integrated into their own systems yet. A competitor can build software, but they can't instantly access millions of real driving scenarios. And without that exposure, their ability to improve real-world driving performance slows down. They're not just behind, they're working with less information. And in a system like this, that matters. Because better data doesn't just improve performance, it determines how fast improvement happens at all. From here, the difference shifts from capability to speed, and speed is what compounds over time. Each new vehicle increases how quickly the model adapts. More driving experience leads to faster adjustments. Faster adjustments improve performance, and better performance attracts more users. That creates a reinforcing cycle that keeps accelerating. Now the gap doesn't stay the same. It widens, because Tesla's system is improving faster than the rest. And once a system improves faster than competitors, it doesn't just lead. It sets the pace everyone else is forced to follow. Eventually, the difference stops being incremental. It becomes directional. Because Tesla isn't just improving results. It's improving how quickly results improve. You can already see it in the numbers. Teslas, using autopilot, go about 6 to 7 million miles between crashes. The average driver in the US crashes roughly every 700,000 miles. That gap reflects a system that's improving continuously through real-world usage. At that point, catching up isn't just difficult, it becomes time-dependent. Even if competitors improve, they're improving at a slower rate relative to Tesla. And that difference compounds over time. And there's another layer most people don't think about. For a system like this to work at scale, it needs infrastructure. Not just factories, but a network that supports how these vehicles operate every day. And Tesla built that too. Tesla didn't just build cars, it built a charging network that supports them globally. That changes how the entire system functions, because infrastructure shapes how often the product is used. If charging is fast and reliable, people drive more. And more driving means more real-world data feeding into the system. That directly increases how fast the model improves. The charging network isn't just convenience, it's acceleration. Tesla has already built thousands of supercharger stations worldwide. That makes it one of the largest fast-charging networks on the planet. This isn't just infrastructure, it's a force multiplier for the entire system. Because Tesla isn't just controlling the vehicle, it's influencing how often that vehicle is used. And that directly affects how fast the system evolves, because usage drives improvement. But the model doesn't stop at performance. It extends into how the business operates. This is where Tesla shifts from selling products and starts operating a transportation network. Tesla's robo-taxi network changes how the company makes money, because vehicles are no longer just owned, they're deployed. If a car operates for 10 hours a day instead of sitting parked, it becomes part of a revenue-producing system. That completely changes the economics. A car that normally sits idle most of the day can now generate value for hours. That's the shift from ownership to utilization. Instead of selling a product once, Tesla participates in every mile driven, and that changes everything about the business model. Now the system doesn't just create value, it captures it continuously. And that creates a much harder problem for competitors because they're not just competing on product anymore. They're trying to recreate a global fleet, real-world driving data, faster model adaptation, and a usage-driven revenue model all at once. That's a completely different level of competition. Because Tesla isn't just scaling production, it's scaling responsiveness. Every new vehicle strengthens the system, every mile adds more information, and every improvement makes the next step harder to match. That's how the lead compounds. At that point, the system doesn't just lead, it reinforces its own lead. If one system improves faster than the rest, it will keep increasing the distance, and the gap will continue to grow. Most competitors aren't just behind, they're improving at a slower rate relative to Tesla, which means over time, they don't catch up. They fall further behind. At that point, the advantage isn't just large. It becomes self-reinforcing. Because the more the system improves, the more people use it, and the more people use it, the faster it improves. Which means competitors aren't chasing a fixed target. They're chasing something that's accelerating away from them. And once a system reaches that point, catching up isn't just difficult, it becomes structurally unlikely. So when you step back and look at the full structure, the model becomes clear. The vehicles bring in usage, and that usage generates real-world data. The data improves the model, and the model is what compounds. The product is a car, but the system is a network that evolves with every mile. And once that network reaches scale, competitors aren't catching up. They're operating on a completely different timeline and falling further behind every day.